Okay, so I just finished watching the first part of the two-part finale and Doctor Who Unleashed and that as well, The Legend of Ruby Sunday. And for the first bit of this review, I'm going to keep it as non-spoiler, as keep it as spoiler-free, there we go, as possible. But I will give a warning when I do talk about spoilers and that with this one. So yeah, I'll give everyone a warning. And yeah, so just to call it off the bat that I really enjoyed this episode a lot, and I think it's the first time really this series where it's actually really exciting. You know, you get really invested into what's going on. It does have that thing of it's I'd say it's maybe dragging things out a little bit to get to that cliffhanger finale at times, and that it just feels like it's deliberately just like, we need to hold it back and that for the cliffhanger and that. But other than that, this is a pretty good episode, and it just makes me sad that why couldn't the rest of the series, be this exciting and engaging? I'm not saying every episode should be exactly like this, but to be honest, like until this episode, to be honest, I was kind of on the fence to whether or not to cancel my order on the Steelbook for season one, and I think after this episode, this did change my mind, and I'm gonna keep it. Mainly, this essentially, saved it from that, but we'll see what happens next week. So this episode basically starts out, as you'll see in the trailer, with the Doctor arriving at Unit, and he's actually asking Unit for help in trying to identify this woman and that who we've seen in every episode of this series, who is named Sue Tanner, or Susan Tanner, and they quickly deduce, it's an anagram of TARDIS, or is it just that? Is there something else going on? Is it a trap? Blah blah blah. And I do quite like the fact that they point this out right away, just like saying, yeah, everyone can point that out. They also do the thing of, is it Susan? Is it the Doctor's granddaughter? Type thing, but we'll get onto them in a minute. I will say there's some great tension here. There's some really great tension, particularly in the scenes in the time window, which is basically a device that Unit has that allows them to see events and that in the past. And what they do is Ruby has a VHS of a CCTV camera recording of the day her mother left her at the Church of Ruby Road. So they grab the VHS and that and use that to try and, see if they can find out, who Ruby's mother and that is. And during those scenes and that, I think it does help the fact that it's, a more of a low grade VHS, and it's mainly, in monochrome for the most part. I think that black and white and that just kind of raises the tension in it a bit more. I think it really does. Just, and the music cues and that as well. I see this is probably some of the best music and that from Murray Gold. There's a couple of sections here where he's using music, like basically doing like remixes of tracks and that he's done before. So yeah, just not that it's a bad thing. I just noticed it. For example, there's a false bit where it tries to make you think it's one villain and it's not. Again, I will get onto that in a minute. But it was also nice that, for example, Mel got stuff to do. Yeah, Mel actually had things to do, and I do like there is, a scene where the Doctor is, not his best, and Mel and that talks him up to it. And I'm glad it's Mel who does this. I'm glad it's Mel who does this because obviously she's been through it all already with the Doctor, and that I'm glad it is, her who does it. And it is great to finally, that Ruby and the Doctor finally, get proper scenes together with chemistry, and that they're bouncing off with each other, and we get actual development and that with them. Because, to be honest, a lot of this series, they've either been apart or just not in the episodes together that much. I mean, it happened last week's episode. Dot and Bubble, they were barely in. 73 Yards was basically just Ruby's episode on her own. And that, so, yeah, as I said, I haven't really had much time there, but here they spend most of the time in that together, and they go get a bounce off. Kate is fantastic in that, as ever in this. But it does do a great way of, building up its tension throughout. And obviously there's several guesses on what people thought the one who wakes could be, because RTD has gone on this thing of, introduce having all the gods and that, which, yes, he's gone overboard with. Too much overboard. But, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about spoilery. So if you haven't seen this episode, I do highly recommend this episode, even if you haven't watched the rest of the series. This does feel very much like a Russell T Davies finale. It is a very Russell T Davies-y finale, like from back in the day. And that, I will say though, again, that particularly towards the end, I'd say the last like 10-15 minutes, I guess that it feels, there was a few times I was checking the time going, come on, get to the reveal already. Because we all knew it could only be so many things from the descriptions and what have been said about it. But yeah, so obviously I'm gonna get to spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So obviously there was many speculations. One of the most popular ones was the Trickster, who is mentioned, but another one that was mentioned, and literally a one, literally the only other one that makes sense, that I was literally on a chat with my friends talking about it. It's Sutekh. Yep, this is Sutekh's return. And I'm very happy. He doesn't look good. The CGI doesn't look good. And that I hope we do get him in his, more classic type of thing. So maybe with the mask or something like that. I don't know, something more practical, because he doesn't obviously appear until the very, very end. But when he does, oh boy, that CGI just doesn't look good. Like, it just, he's clearly, it's CGI where it just doesn't blend well. It's obvious that it's not a real thing. I think that's the best way to say it. But, yeah, bring back Sutekh and that, I am looking forward to, where they go with it and that. And, yeah, it's interesting the way they do it, because, I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping he doesn't get ruined. I'm also curious on what RTD is going to do with the continuity with Sutekh as well. Because RTD doesn't seem to really like Big Finish anymore, and basically tries to deliberately undo them being canon anymore as much as he can. So if you don't know, Sutekh has already returned various times in Big Finish. I think about 4 or 5 now. So yeah, be interested to see. I imagine they're probably going to be ignored and that, but we'll see. We'll see if they're like deliberately stamped out or not. But regardless, we'll get on to that. So, but yeah, obviously we all knew it was going to be some sort of returning villain for the finale, because all of Russell's finales are that. But yeah, it could have gone obviously 2 ways, and we still don't know who the other woman is that I forget her name of. there's a lot of theories and that going out there, but we'll find out on that more about next time, and that's kind of just left there, I guess. But yeah, it took a while though. It felt like a while after, like I'd say after they leave the time window, it just kind of feels like we're just waiting for the reveal of Sutek. I will say though, the way it was revealed with it being Sutek, that was clever. That was honestly, a bit of a better wordplay in that. Because obviously RTD does love his wordplay, so yeah. But I don't know, as much as I did enjoy this episode, it does make me sad that why couldn't the rest of it be like that? Why couldn't the rest of it be like that? But yeah, it's hard to really judge everything yet because obviously this episode is mostly just setting everything up. So we'll get everything hopefully next week, and then I can make, a final, judge on it. But I really enjoyed this first part.